I'm Nika Waters, and here is my tier 2 kind of plus a couple things. Now the thing that you have to know with kitchen tools is once you get to a point that you're starting to cook a lot, and if you start to really feel the lack of something, like you say, oh man, I wish I could do that because I need this, that's the time to go out and get that thing. But generally, don't overstock your kitchen to begin with. I've given you the very basics, and then this is what I would consider kind of the next level up. Most people are going to want to have most of these things in their kitchen. Some of them are not. I want 2 more bowls. Bowls are great to have lots of. A strainer. You're going to want something that is a fine sieve if you're going to be sifting flour. But again, this becomes something that as you're doing more stuff, you might say, oh, I really want to be sifting flour because I'm making specialty cupcakes or something. And then you would need something like a grater. When I'm going for something finer, I actually have a second grater, and I actually even have a third grater. I've got a rotary grater that I keep in the fridge. This is a MICROPLANE ZESTER. I think these things rock. They're sharp as heck, but they're based on woodworking tools. They're based on rasps. This is a very awesome tool to have. You are going to need something with which to measure things. These are measuring cups for dry ingredients. There is actually a difference between a measuring cup like this and a measuring cup like this. This is a liquid measuring cup. They come in plastic, they come in glass. I like them in glass because then I can, if I need to melt butter or something right in here, I can do this in the microwave and not have to worry about getting something else dirty. But you need a set of dry measuring cups. You will need measuring spoons to be able to measure out ingredients particularly when you're baking. And you will probably want a whisk. I love these rubber spatulas. This is kind of a, you decide, these are heat proof, but they allow you to go, you can stir things in a frying pan or in a pot, but you also can use it to get things out of like mayonnaise or mustard jars or something like that. In addition to your silicone spatula, your plastic spatula, I like having something that's a little bit firmer still. Gotta have a vegetable peeler. You're probably gonna need a can opener. You are gonna want a potato masher. Again, different styles. I happen to like this one that has the funky things on it instead of, there's some that look like a big wire, I don't know, like, I don't even know how to describe it. But there's a different kind of masher. You decide what you like. You're gonna want a pair of scissors. Get a pair that you can take apart and put in the dishwasher. A pair of scissors. Sounds strange to have as a kitchen tool, but they're really pretty great. This is a paring knife. These come in 2 or 3 different sizes, a little bit smaller. Huge believer in my garlic press. If you've seen any of my Tasty Thursdays, you know that I use a garlic press all the time. Nice handheld knife sharpener means you can sharpen your knives every time you use them. Getting into some pots and pans. I actually have 2 skillets, but I love having a skillet like this that will go in the oven. And I also have a nonstick skillet for when I am making eggs. A smaller saucepan. I've got a bigger saucepan. This is great for things like pasta. This is also great for things like if you're cooking crabs or doing something like that. You want to have a big pot. So I've got a big pot, a 9 by 13 casserole pan. I can throw almost anything to a casserole. Mexican lasagna, regular lasagna, chicken and rice, casseroles with vegetables. I can roast vegetables in this. These are great all-purpose pans. I think I actually have like 4 of them, but you definitely want to have 1. And if you're cooking for 1 person, you can get a smaller something, but I love having this big one. The thing is, even if you're cooking for 1 person, if you make a big casserole, you can always cut it up and put the leftovers in the freezer, wrap them individually, put them in the freezer, and then you cooked once, but you've got food for a while longer. Having a couple of cookie sheets is helpful. It's helpful when you are cooking something in the oven and you're worried about it spilling over to the bottom. Also, if you want to make cookies, cookie sheets are really good. I've got a cookie cooling rack, which I use for things, way more things than cookies. I don't make as many cookies as my kids wish I would, but having a rack like this to cool things off is very helpful. Again, these are things that as you just get cooking more and more, these are tools that I've come to love and use all the time. This is called an immersion blender. It comes apart. I use this actually every single day for my shakes, but it also makes great liquid soups and that sort of thing. It's a stick blender, an immersion blender, because you don't have to take the things out of the pot, but you can zzz right in there. So immersion blender. I'm a fan of a food scale. Love my food scale. I wind up not measuring cups of flour and that sort of thing when I'm baking because I use my food scale. This is definitely not required by any way, shape, or form. You've seen me. I love my food processor. If you need one, these are a great tool. This is certainly the biggest. If I had space on my sailboat and the power, I would take my food processor. I love it that much. You might want to move up to is a stand mixer. If you're cooking lots of bread, or you're baking cookies, or doing that sort of thing with for lots of people, or you're doing it frequently, the thing that's nice about this is you can set it up, put the ingredients in, you can start it up and then walk away. So it frees up your hands for a lot of other things as you're doing things. That's great when I'm making bread and it has to knead for 10 minutes. I can just start it, press the timer, and then I'm working on something else. Other things that you need in your kitchen just depend on you. If you do a lot of smoothies and you want that sort of thing, you're going to want a blender. If you drink tea all the time, it's really nice to have a kettle. If you are a coffee drinker, you're going to want a coffee press or a coffee machine. So think about the things that you need and you want in your life. But if you wanted to be able to cook 99% of just about anything, you've got it with everything that is here. So there is my tier 2. So there you go. Those are my tier 2. You do this, you're going to have the most amazingly outfitted kitchen imaginable. And then if you want something else, go for it. Love you all.